let's start off with kind of give me a little bit of background, obviously, on both you guys and like what you are currently doing for work right now. I know obviously you and I already had this conversation a little ways back, but talk to me a little about where you guys are at right now.
Yeah, I'm in healthcare finance. My 9 to 5 or more than 9 to 5 is I'm a vice president in a large health system that's the third largest in the country. And we were looking to just scale and do a little more streams of income. Obviously, we do well for ourselves, but wanted to figure out how we could diversify some of our income and figure out other models to see what happens in the next 10 years of our career and see how we pivot. So, Eddie?
Yeah, I mean, so also in healthcare, I'm the CTO for the University of Miami Health System right down here by Jackson,
Mhm.
right? So that's where I call my home in my 24 by 7, 365-hour a day a year job, right? It's always something's going on. So yeah,
Sure.
I think where we are now is like right what she said. I think we have maybe, a solid good 10 years left that we want to work, right? And
Sure.
so in these next 10 years, we really want to be smarter. Like she said,
Yeah.
we do well, yes, but we
Mhm.
also spend well, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's what brought us to this business opportunity. And
Hmm.
honestly, trying to pick the right words to say, really surprised in a positive way, right? The way
Yeah.
things picked up so fast, right? I think you guys did a great
Sure.
job in finding the locations, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for
Finding the
sure.
locations, the setup team that you guys used, right? Like an empty room, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden, it's all set up, and then
Totally.
Andrew's been great communicating. And just
Hmm.
the other day, Cheryse was like, "Oh, okay, so when are we ready to do the next one?" Because like things were coming
Yeah.
in so fast, right? And I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah. For sure.
let's go easy." So obviously, and what you were
Sure.
saying, like, where do we want to go? I think we definitely going to want to entertain doing
Sure.
some more, right?
Yeah.
But it's only been what, 3 weeks, and I'm full transparency. Cherise has really been the one that has like grabbed it by the horns, and she's been
Yeah.
getting the late night pings that there's coffee cups missing, and that
Yeah.
that they used up all our detergent. Right? I heard her saying things that we're learning. It's like, don't leave detergent outside. Apparently, right?
Yeah. 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 For
But
sure.
how we landed at you is that we started thinking about this model and we were working with another group and everything was education and guiding
Yeah.
on how we secure the units and how we design and how we get everything up and going. And if you
Yeah.
remember, I reached out to you after that initial team
Hmm.
because Eddie and I just our schedules and what time we had available to dedicate to this and focus on it, although we did want to head down this path, was limited.
Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
to get it scaled and to get it up and running in a quicker fashion, we partnered with you because it really did accelerate that timeline and got us up and going in a much shorter time than if we had to do it ourselves.
100%. And I do want to piggyback a couple of statements. I know it's obviously, pretty soon. I know you guys are just getting started, right? Okay, hey, like throughout this year, I'm assuming you guys will take on more units and continue scaling, but you guys are going through specific learning curves, excuse me, to understand, okay, well, what happens when a guest says this or what happens in this scenario? And those are all, learning opportunities to obviously get better, right? So I'm glad you guys are seeing that now. And that's like sort of say what we do with all our clients. It's like, hey, we got a date before we get married, right? Let's get one property up and running, right? Let's see how the actual back end part of the business is being ran, and then once we have that solidified, okay, boom, now we kind of hit the ground and continue scaling. So I do remember like on our previous call when you guys were reaching out and we're like, okay, hey, this is what we want to do. We want to speed ramp the process, and coming from a position where you guys are already doing well financially, but you guys are time limited. I guess talk to me a little bit on the specifics on where we actually helped you guys out as far as landing the property, helping you set it up. Because I do know we did make a pivot, right? You guys were thinking about doing the short-term rental with the Aventura property that you guys have, right? But
Right.
we kind of put that off to a hold for now. And we were like, okay, let's just start with arbitrage, right? Just get you a property first, kind of go down this path. Talk to me a little bit on the specifics on like, okay, maybe where you guys were struggling out initially before working with us and kind of how quickly we were able to speed ramp this process to get, where you guys are at today.
Well, we started out with a script on what we needed to do our own legwork. How do we
And that
find
was from a different program,
from a
right?
different program? How do you find the
Okay.
properties? How do you make those cold calls? Having the script in front of you, knowing that you were probably going
Yeah.
to land one out of every 10, and we
Yeah.
need to dedicate time to do that, and we just didn't have the time to do it. So then when we landed with you and you had your done for you program, we thought that that was the best model for us. So from the time
Hmm.
that you and I and Eddie met and started working together, it was, I don't know, within a handful of weeks that we
Hmm.
were already discussing the markets that we could potentially go into. You and Andrew had connections already in those markets. And
Yeah.
we were presented with, do you want to go to Arizona? Do you want to stay in North Carolina? We made a
Hmm.
decision of where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
And in a couple of weeks, we had options of one lease. And then we
Hmm.
quickly said, well, let's do two leases. So we
Yeah.
got two leases up and going, and then there was a little bit of troubleshooting of those leases just because put the correct LLC name on that lease.
Sure.
And so, but getting through those hiccups, it was just a couple of weeks after that where we secured a lease and were able to start ordering and getting furniture
Hmm.
ready to go in. And after that, we just tried to, the biggest hurdle was timing of getting things delivered to another state and lining that up
Yeah.
with your setup team.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I think that the biggest difference is that whole white glove service,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
we don't have the time to do everything that took place, right? When you
Yeah.
look back and see everything that has to fall into place, like she's saying, Walmart ordered it and they said they'll do it this day, and then all of a sudden they show up earlier, right?
Yep.
We don't live out there. We never even seen the places, and we actually had to call in a lifeline, right? Her sister happens to live an hour
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so she actually went out there and she helped us a little bit,
Sure.
do some things. But I think that service alone, it's really good. It's smart. It's a smart model, right?
Yeah.
I think for people like Cheryse and I that are like working people still, right? That's a huge
100%.
difference. Huge difference.
100%. Yeah. Cause like, obviously I do know that you guys do well, but like you guys do work a lot. Like you guys are time limited. So it's like, hey, in the next 5, 10 years, what can we look into to diversify? Right. So like, as we get closer to these timelines, what are we doing to supplement your current income now? Right. And do all these things. So I'm glad that's obviously helped out. Talk to me a little bit specifically on how these two properties are doing. I know it's fairly new, but like talk to me a little bit on like the positives of how they've been running, bookings, pricing, stuff like that.
Well, again, part of the benefit of working with your team is you set up our hospitable
Yeah.
accounts, our price labs, our all
Hmm.
of the back end functions that you need to run something like this. And so we're still learning that model. And we were able to launch, I think it's only been a couple of weeks, not even three.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even
Yeah.
three.
And we've
Hmm.
had our one bedroom consistently booked since we launched. I think our first opening is happening probably 1 week from now, our two bedroom. So both of our units have been consistently booked with perhaps the exception of one day between two bookings. So we're one booking came in for the two bedroom for a 48-day stay. So we have somebody
Wow.
booked through the middle of April. And it was a surprise to me. I knew that this was a model that could work. I just,
Sure.
I just didn't expect, frankly, that it would launch so quickly and we needed
Yeah.
to stay on top of things from get-go.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
it's been a great experience. I'm excited about it. I am Andrew in the model telling him, we're booked up for the next 2, 3 weeks or something. When are we going to get the next unit?
Yeah.
That's what he was like, slow down, Cherise, slow down. But
So,
yeah, pleasantly surprised.
actually, a question, right? So
Yeah.
the landlord in these leases, they're 1 year leases only, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, is that like, next year is like they're not going to come back and say, hey, no, we're not going to do it this year?
So it absolutely can for like underlying circumstances, like one-off circumstances, but like obviously we have like a very high success renewal rate with these people. It's usually 96, 97% renewal rate, right? And like as you guys are seeing, and I know obviously you'll see it more as you guys scale, but we're providing so much value to these people, right? You guys see you have two properties, right? And instead of them dealing with two tenants, they're dealing with one, which is you guys, right? So it already takes a big burden off their plate. And obviously, as you continue to scale with these relationships and diversifying, work with other people, you provide so much value to the table. So it's more so you guys are working with business to business, right? B2B instead of like B2C, where it's like a property manager working with tenants, right? Business to consumer. they're working with a business, which is you guys, which is
Yeah,
us,
yeah,
right? So we provide so much value. So they don't really treat us like normal tenants where they're like, oh, they're going to raise
yeah,
the rent on you after the first year, or, I'm not going to sign a lease with you because I'm going to do Airbnb, which again, it can happen. But these people have different goals. Their goals is to
yeah.
continue buying more properties,
Right.
continue bringing in consistent tenants to pay their mortgage and, of course, the profit that they want to make on rent. So it's a
Because I
little
was
bit
thinking,
different.
yeah,
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
reason I asked, the reason I said that was because yesterday, babe, I was like, man, what if they don't renew a lease and then we gotta take all that stuff out, put it in storage somewhere now, and
Yeah, it's a really good concern. But again, like we provide so much value to them, right? And once they see that, because obviously we've been doing work with these partners for a very long time. So, if they wanted to turn around and do it themselves, they would have done so a long time ago, right? They know
yeah,
exactly, how we're operating this business. So that's really the value that we provide to them, where it's like, okay, they're not treating us like a normal tenant. They're treating us like a business. And they are an understanding like, okay, we're here to make money too. We're providing a lot of value to help you out, but we're also getting paid for our time. So like, that's like the biggest difference compared to if they're working with like traditional tenants. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Makes
cool.
sense.
Really good questions. I know I want to kind of piggyback off the statement that you mentioned, Cherise, of like, okay, you're surprised and like how fast we got bookings. I remember when I had a conversation with you guys before you started working with us, when we were really outlining, okay, what is it that we actually do and like the done for you aspect of it of like, okay, hey, we're going to identify that market for you guys and find you that first property. So talk to me a little bit on like what you guys seen. Okay, hey, we've obviously gone into the correct market, right? That's in high demand, providing a bunch of constant people driving to this location, right, to book these Airbnbs. Talk to me a little bit on how we've actually helped you source right the market, let alone the property. I know we touched upon that already, but talk to me on like what you're seeing, right? Because you're saying, okay, we got a ton of bookings. They're coming in surprisingly fast, right? Talk to me a little bit on that.
Yeah, I think it was the discussion pre-decision to head into Mesa, looking at the AirDNA stats, seeing what the market could potentially bring. We actually went in during peak season, which is not a
Mhm.
bad thing, not a bad way to start. We looked at also, I think it was North Carolina was another one because we do,
Raleigh.
Yeah,
yeah, we go back
yeah,
and forth between Charlotte and Florida. But I think because of Andrew's experience in Arizona, we were inclined to
yeah,
that market. We thought, who better than, to give that
sure,
advice. So we're happy selecting that and didn't quite know the market, but we did get a presentation about what's around the area, what's
yeah,
nearby, who are the potential clients that would be looking for a property like this. And it
hmm,
turns out that it hit the nail on the head because the
yeah,
gentleman who did book the 48-day stay is not a medical professional, rather a patient who will be receiving care at the local
yeah,
medical center and wanted something that was going to be accessible to him or his family while they seek treatment there. So
yeah,
being in the healthcare field, that was appealing to both Eddie and myself being near that because we know what travel nursing looks like. We know. So
totally.
all of the important points that were identified in the presentation to us about what we could
Yeah,
potentially get is coming to fruition. We're seeing the result of it. We're seeing the actual
yeah,
examples that we were told we were going to see. So
Mhm.
yeah,
it's really behaving in the way that
mhm,
we were told it should, and that's always you could roll the dice. You could have been you could
sure.
have said, yeah, this is what you're going to get, this is what you're going to see, but the proof that we're seeing how it's actually playing out does exemplify to us that
Yeah,
you and your team knew what you were doing. You weren't just throwing a line at us. Like, you've been doing this
sure.
and you brought your expertise to the table, and now Eddie and I are able to reap the benefits of it. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we
100%.
haven't been able to find something to say, hey, but they told us this.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah,
we
yeah. Well,
haven't. And then
I
look,
think that,
things happen for a reason, I guess, right? The whole Mesa, the whole her sister living out there, right? And
sure.
then look,
Yeah.
the last call we were on, folks that had properties in North Carolina got hit with the storm, and
Hmm.
so they were like, "Oh yeah, I don't have any bookings for all these days, the weather."
Yeah.
So you
well, look,
never
Yeah.
know, right?
don't get it, no, we're gonna have
I
in the
know when it's 100 degrees.
right in the height
Sure. Yeah. Listen, there's always variables in
of
the market that's like going
seasonality,
to be,
right?
yeah, there's always things that'll be out of your control. I mean, I do have a lot of properties in North Carolina too, and I was affected by it, but like once that blows over, totally
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
I know, like, I really want to kind of piggyback off the statement. I meant to bring this up earlier is like, really finding that confidence and certainty for you guys. I'm like, okay, this is why we're going into this market for this reason. This is why we're going after these properties, because we're accommodating these types of professionals, right? And now you guys are seeing that play out. I think that's the biggest thing, right? When I told you guys, like, listen, all the information's out there on Airbnb and how to actually start this and scripts on how to talk to these people. But it's very hard to start with that level of certainty and confidence, right? Of, okay, I know how to find markets, but do I know the data behind it? Do I have that certainty that's going to do this well? And then, of course, is this property going to hit these target numbers compared to like what we've actually been doing with you guys on the implementational part, right? And I think that's helped you guys kind of get more of like one foot in front of the other with confidence behind those actions, be like, oh yeah, this is going to do X well, or it's going to do Y well because we're seeing this, right? The data, we're seeing the market research. And I think that's been the biggest help for you guys is, like you said, you came from another program, you had the information. Yeah, the time was a big thing. You don't have time to just call 100 landlords a week or 100 landlords a month, but also understanding that certainty and that confidence level of starting something new. So walk me through your guys' process on that, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time, but walk me through like how you guys felt when we were like, okay, we're going into this market for this reason, and like here's the types of properties we're going after because of X reason. Yeah, like walk me through like that.
I think the conversations with Andrew and the just understanding that, or rather relying on the expertise that you and your team have with knowing what questions to ask, knowing what your clients are going to ask, and being prepared, bringing those answers to the table. Frankly, I've had full confidence in that you were going to deliver and what you said you were going to deliver. But I have to say that I'm a little bit of a control freak, and I kept going and asking questions to Eddie, like, I need to know this and I need to know that. And then before I was ask the question, Andrew came back with the answer. So it was a bit of anticipating your client's needs and anticipating the questions that we're going to ask, and providing a calming answer, so that when I asked the question, the answer was always there. So it was a learning process for me, in that when I'm, giving everybody the ability to do this on our behalf, and we're engaging with you and to have this service, and we're putting our confidence that it's going to get done. Really, they were that didn't get done, and all the nuances of, once we were in the market, how do we set up a cleaner, how do we set up a handyman, how do we get the remote locks done, and I've been nothing but pleased with the cleaner that we have set up with our property. And that was Andrew just putting the feelers out and interviewing the people and getting them set up, and they've been
that's huge.
Stellar.
Did you tell them the sheet story?
Right. So I ordered the wrong size sheets, and then the stagers
that him and his wife helped us the other day.
Yeah. So we had to reorder sheets, and so things got done. But then our cleaners showed up and said, this was a question I have. Do I do a duvet and a duvet cut? Like, you think it's a silly question, and I didn't ask it at the time of order. And I figured, okay, I can make this executive decision. And I did a duvet and a duvet cover. But the cleaner said to me, it takes a little longer for us to dry your duvet cover, because when we're washing it, it takes a little longer to dry. You're better off with a blanket. And I was like, man, I should have asked the question before I made the purchase. But we had a guest who thought that the sofa in our one bedroom was a sofa bed, although the description on the unit did not say sofa bed. It was just a misinterpretation. But the cleaner was able to accommodate us, show up, go to our storage unit, pull out pillows, pull out sheets, and he didn't have to do that, but he went out of his way to make the guests comfortable. And I'm sure that they're very grateful for it. But again, it's those sorts of things that I wouldn't have had the assuredness or the confidence that it was actually going to get. But all of that was a result of your team just putting it together and letting us know, don't worry, we got this. We know what we're doing, and everything that you have said was going to work out has. So
and I'm glad it did. No, listen, I know obviously you guys are just getting started, and obviously we got bigger plans like throughout this year, where there's tack on a couple more properties, but it is extremely heartwarming to see like the progress that you guys are making. Even though we are doing a lot of this work for you guys, you guys, it is still a two-way street. And the fact that you guys are still showing up and you are taking care of little things that may happen, and figuring out how to resolve those things is still massive. And that's obviously what drives a successful business. So give yourself a pat on the back too, because this is still a two-way street. So it's just amazing to see, obviously, the progress you guys are making in such a short amount of time. Now, we'll wrap up with this stuff. I got like two last questions. I guess for you, for both of you guys, like you obviously had the information prior to working with us, like actually how to go about this. I guess what gave you the go ahead and I guess the confidence to be like, you know what, like we need more of a hands-on approach. We need more of like a one-on-one support. And what gave you that confidence to be like, you know what, there is someone else out there that can get us to these goals and get this business model up and running way faster than, what we thought originally? Like, what was kind of that differentiating factor for you guys to be like, you know what, okay, we have the information, but we don't have the time. Now let's start looking for someone that can actually give us that step-by-step roadmap, sort of say.
Wait, I'll say real quick, Wade, there's a lot of information that goes behind, a lot of homework that has to be done. Right.
Sure.
And so you guys obviously do a great job with the whole like data driven location scouting. Right. Yeah. And so there is no way that Cheryse and I would be able to do stuff like that. And people can say it until they're blue in the face and, oh, it's like riding a bike, but you still got to know. Right. So, and again, I'm saying, I keep like a broken record. I'm saying again, that model that you guys have, it's key. It's key. I think that's the what made us say, hey, let's do it. Now, I'm always a skeptical guy. I'm like, if it's that easy, then why isn't everybody doing it, right? If it's that simple, right? But you guys make it easier, that the beginning part. But there's a lot of work that has to go into it, though. Now on the back end. Like I see Cheryse, and like I said, she has all the apps. She's getting all the things. So I guess there's a fine line. Yeah. But the fact that you guys provide that service to help everything, right? From the setting up the rooms, getting the locations, that is just huge, massive. So myself as well, just I haven't had the day-to-day experience that Cheryse has with Andrew, besides just the messages, but totally exceeds expectations so far, for sure.
Love it. I'm glad.
Absolutely. Cool. And now we have a grandson. I think things are thinking differently, right? We're gonna leave Miami. Sure. Right? We're gonna leave. We're gonna go back up. We're closing on a house next week.
Nice. Right? Congrats.
Yeah, we're closing on a house next week. So we're gonna make that move back. And if this continues to grow, then who's to say we have to work 10 more years?
For sure. Right? And that's kind of my last question. I'll kind of tie it into two questions, and I'll let you guys kind of wrap this up. And I want to get both your guys' opinions on this. I guess two things. What's your guys' like kind of vision throughout this year on like scaling, like maybe like picking up 2 more properties, 3 more properties? So like talk to me on like your goals with that. And then lastly, I want both you guys to wrap up with like, for you, Eddie, like, skepticism is normal. And you should have that, right? Working with someone online, right? Seeing someone over Zoom. And I'm glad, obviously, we were able to build that confidence and that trust from day one on both ends here. But like, to wrap it up, what would you guys tell someone that is maybe skeptical to work, not even just with us, but just in any business model, right? That's maybe in a similar position where you guys are at, that wants to supplement their income, add an additional passive income stream. What would you tell that person to maybe help them get over the edge a little bit and have a little bit of a confidence boost to be like, you know what, like there is someone out there that can help you, get you your goals quicker?
I think that taking the leap of faith and using the success had.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I wrote it here. Leap of faith. I said, when it's my turn to talk, so I don't forget, I wrote it, leap of faith. Sorry, man.
Love it. That leap of faith that, your experience and the history that you bring and what you've told us you've been able to do and the successes that you've had really is what got us to say, okay, yes, we don't have the time or the background knowledge to know and get this up and running without dedicating hours and hours and hours of learning to be able to do it. And you brought that expertise to the table and got us on the on-ramp a lot quicker. So for somebody who has the ability to partner with you or partner in a model like this to get going, to bring that extra stream of income. Yes, there's work involved, but you don't gain anything without work, right? So there's work involved, but having a partner like you that helps us every step of the way it made us believers a lot quicker than if we had done this on our own. I think had we followed a different model where we had to be self-taught on how to scale, how to get everything done, it would have taken a lot longer. And I think we would have lost momentum. We would have lost the
Yeah.
gas to keep going. But because there
Hmm.
was constant movement, constant going
Hmm.
forward, and once one step was done, the next step was ready.
Yeah.
The game plan was really played out as we were told it was going to play out, and it made us see the success and believe that this can happen one time, two times, because we've already had 2 units, but it can go to however large we decide to scale it.
Love that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to see us at least five, babe, this year, right?
Hmm.
Five. I wrote down 5 to 7, but then I know we have a lot going on. But again,
Sure.
you never know. But at least I
Yeah.
think minimum 5 this year. That if we could like have under our belt, that would be ideal. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's about that leap of faith, that trust, right? But then what makes a difference is when you deliver on what you
Hmm.
say,
Yeah.
right? That builds credibility right there. And
Sure.
so when we talk to people, I was like, I absolutely know somebody who's
Yeah.
not BSing. Who, if you put in the
Sure.
time and the effort, it's gonna work.
Yeah, I love that too. And I'll kind of wrap it up with this. I always relate it back to like the confidence and certainty, right? Because you guys are very smart people, and I don't put it past you guys would 100% be able to figure this stuff out. But again, you guys are strapped with time, right? And at the same time, it's like I know what it feels like where you guys were like, okay, with that first program when I first started too, because I was the same thing. It was the same way, right? And what I've realized is anytime you step into the unknown and start something new, it's very hard to begin with that level of certainty and confidence that's going to work, or like see the expectations as you don't see it yet, right? You don't get those wins, right? Because you didn't do it. And that's what we're looking to replicate here with you guys. And obviously we've done that and seen the process to build that confidence and certainty, because it's like, okay, we get these properties up and running. Now we have bookings come in, right? Now we're seeing how the softwares and systems are being ran. So you guys see, oh crap, yeah, this is working. Okay, let's learn how it actually runs, and then let's go ahead and start scaling again and continue pushing the needle forward. And like you said, you build that momentum through that process because you're seeing the beginning stage wins happen so soon. And that's the most important thing. I think that separates a lot of people from being like hyper successful and then maybe successful, but just over a longer period of time. Right.
Yeah.
So I love that. And I really appreciate you guys giving me some feedback. It helps us, of course, obviously get better and help other people. But it is really joyful to see your guys' journey. I know you guys are obviously just getting started. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys making some time today to kind of give me your feedback. I'm obviously super happy on the success you guys got in a short amount of time. I know you guys are just getting started. So keep me posted. If you guys ever need anything, I know obviously I'm sure questions will come up this week, but keep us posted. We're here to help you out and excited to see what the future holds. All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Aurelio. Good seeing you.
Yep, you as well, guys. I'll talk to you later. Jury Sunday, all right?
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye.